Welcome back, everybody. This is I believe it's the last episode of the year. This is the Natives in America podcast. I'm your host, Benjamin Wan, and with me, as always, is Sky Anto.
What's up? What's up?
And you're listening to the Reservation Radio Network, or you're tuning in to the Reservation Radio Network. I'm going to try to push that more this coming year. And maybe get some more podcasts on the network so that it's more of a network. Okay, so me and Sky have already started talking about this, so we might have to go back and fill people in here. Because it's our last episode, it's not really about Christmas, it's not really about New Year's. I mean, we may bring up New Year's, but I was thinking we'd just kind of wing it tonight and talk about the year and how we've been feeling about it and what's been going on and just kind of recap the year. And I think it can still be entertaining and still be worth listening to. So everybody who's tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Announcement-wise, I want to kind of celebrate or at least point out, because I've already missed great days in our history, or the history of the podcast. Like once we hit a year since we started recording, or maybe a year since we started posting, we didn't celebrate that, so I kind of feel a little bad about that. So we're going to have to make the second year a big deal. But something I want to celebrate is this week, off of the momentum from Steve Danlow's episode, we've hit 100 subscribers. And I think that's pretty big, guys. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to the subscribers, the people who have been sticking with us from the beginning. Like, I think it's around 50 or 60 that listen to nearly every episode. I don't know if it's the same people, but it seems to be the number that our regular episodes reach, you know, where I feel like, all right, everybody's listened. So thank you to everybody who stuck with us, and welcome to everybody who has joined us. Thank you for listening. You got anything to add to that, Sky?
No, I think, try not to pay attention to the numbers, I guess, because, you know, you listen to it when you listen to it, but, we've definitely progressed, so and, I think the download one, well, there was a few big episodes this year where it was like, oh wow, I didn't know we were doing something of that magnitude, or I don't know how you want to describe it, but this episode with Mr. Gamla was pretty cool to have you know, some of my mom, and, you know, my godmother sort of, you know, be able to listen and relate and know, I guess, what we're doing on the podcast side, but yet it's like that was their teacher, so, you know, we had something interesting for, I won't say that generation, but just the anybody that is associated with Bobby Cubery, you know, it's kind of like he's kind of a historical figure in that tree of knowledge, and, you know, even if you didn't know him or you just heard about him now through the podcast, you know, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool to know we're a part of that exchange of history and stuff. So I mean, we've been doing that this whole time, but to see it right away, like, oh man, people want to hear what Gamma has to say. So pretty cool.
I think this, I always watch the numbers just to kind of gauge where we're at, where an episode's at, like. And again, I'm surprised. I never know what to expect. Like, I'll I thought the donuts would do better, and I think the last time I checked it was in the 40s, which I think is kind of low. I mean, I don't know, like, that might be a gift, like, oh man, 40, fuck yeah, 40 people listen, like, I never know how many people will listen or how many views it'll get, but, so far, Download's episode was the quickest. It hit something that some of our bigger guests have gotten, like their all-time number was the number he's gotten in 2 days. It kind of blew my mind. So the fastest flying one so far.
Yeah.
And I never know what it will do. And sometimes I wonder if it's just the first image people see, or the way I word the title. So you mentioned us growing. I feel like even like we had completed the first season, and then when we began this season, I was like, yeah, we're big. I wasn't thinking we're big time, but I was like, man, we've made it this far. Recording every week, putting something up every week. It was difficult at times, but we made it, and I was like, yeah, like we got momentum now. And then I listened to episodes that we recorded at the beginning of this year, and it's completely different now. Like we are progressing. I see it, and I hear it in our recordings, and how we run a guest episode where we, our discussions, our what's the word? What's the expression? Our I don't know. It's our mannerisms, I guess. It's how we run an interview, and I'm impressed. I like it, and I'll tell you what. If anybody's out there who's interested in being a guest, I want you to let it be known. Comment on the page. I don't think I've included a email. Maybe that's something we should become more accessible through our through the channel. But yeah, what I would like to have is maybe next year's too soon. Maybe it's the perfect time, but I would like to have a guest every single time we record. And so far that's proven pretty difficult this year, but we've done well. So I'm like,
we had a streak. We had a good streak.
Yeah,
we had guests.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. Week. That's progress. It's the difference between this year and last year. So
I had some returning guests.
Yeah, we've had return guests, which is awesome. Like that feels good. So it's I'm hoping we can continue our progress into this coming year.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a point. I think it was this year where it wasn't so much we're running out of topics, but it was like it felt like I was running out of topics or ideas, and then the feedback really does help. So,
yeah.
Good or negative or positive, I guess, but like it's feedback, and so like Meg saying she liked how we brought in articles, so try to.
So we did more of them.
We incorporate more articles, and I think that when we were talking a lot about the robots, that had me not reading more, but like we had this credible source that we could develop ideas around and and
start a conversation, really.
Yeah, and those are pretty heavy ones for me. I like.
Yeah, I like having something in hand and something we've both read. That's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, in those times where it's like, hey, what's the topic? And sometimes when you hit me with that question, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I had come up with a few a couple of days ago, and I was like, I gotta tell these to Sky, but I didn't, which was my mistake, because when you asked me today, I'm just like, I don't know. Let's talk about stuff.
Well, I think too, like, I think there's a thread in all of our, like, or sometimes we talk about past episodes.
Yeah.
And so it feels like there's some sort of thread between all of them when we bring up something. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like, you know, trying to be more open to ideas where, hey, we haven't explored this area yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in the beginning we're just like, I don't know, they were very simple, broad, but yet still talking about the same thing, like time travel versus Xenobots, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well, it's still the same thing, but
I've definitely been searching for more. I've been paying more attention to the news and the announcements, like the scientific announcements. I've been paying more attention now because of this podcast we have here. It's definitely improved my life, or maybe my interests. It's reinvigorated me, and I also feel like I'm also like releasing this energy that I carry around. You know, like it's an outlet, and it's got so much potential. It's exciting. You know, and the more we learn, the better off we'll be, and the better we'll be at this. Like, even now, I'm still learning how to run the sound equipment. Like, I'm getting better at it. Like, our voices sound pretty clear now. And again, it's different now versus the beginning of the year, and I thought by then we'd have it nailed down. So, progression. We're moving forward. We're building momentum, and again, I'll say we broke 100 subscribers, which I think is huge. It's a milestone, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Cool story, bro. Cool story.
Well, dude, was there an episode that stuck out besides this past one?
Yes.
Or
I like when you and I start talking about society as a whole and maybe language.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this episode, it wasn't very popular. It didn't get many views. Or maybe it just didn't stir a big interest. But the photo on it was like Scrabble letters, which maybe was a little lazy on my part when I got it. I was still learning how to get images and gather them, deciding whether to use multiple images versus, one single image.
Uh-huh.
And so that episode, I think we called it The Trouble with Honesty. And yeah, and like it didn't hit big, but it's one that I want to share now. When I introduce somebody to the podcast, I'm like, hey, send me a couple you like, or which one should I listen to? And I try to send them that one because it didn't have this big eye-catchy cover photo, but we really hit hard on idealism and the words that we use and how it kind of shapes our movies and our society and our culture. It's like, it was a deep one. The Trouble with Honesty. If anybody wants to go back and check it out, like it was, I thought, a game changer for our speech between me and Sky, and like I learned more about Sky and myself and how I actually felt about society, and we even got to talk about people being a little too nice, or like it's gone a little too far. And that's another episode, is the being nice. Like, again, these are I don't think it was a suggestion you brought to me, the trouble with honesty, because I wound up coming up with the title after we recorded. But the one you brought to me was being nice, and I laughed in your face. You weren't face to face, but I laughed at you. I was like, where do you get this crap? But like, once we started, I was like, oh, there's more to this, and apparently I feel something more about it. Like it was like, I want to be nicer, and I think a lot of people should be nicer. And at the same time, maybe we're being a little too nice sometimes. So there was, it surprised me, and it went way deeper than I thought possible.
Well, we like reference it so many times that it's like, it is something definitely, like, I would say not natural, but maybe unnatural when you really start to peel the pieces off of these things, society and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what sparked that discussion.
You did.
The trouble with being honesty. The being nice one was like, I think that was almost like the first season.
Yeah, well, it might have been episode 2 or 3. It was very early on, and it was the cover picture is you in a car with the sun just starting to come up.
Okay, I remember that one, but you're talking about the Scrabble one.
Oh.
Right?
Yes. I don't know my own podcast. The trouble with honesty was the one with Scrabble letters. And that one, maybe that's why it didn't do too well, is the plainness of that first image. But, man, it was a good discussion. Being nice is the one where you're driving in the car.
Yeah, but
so I was about 50-50 on that. I took a shot in the dark and hit something.
We bring it up so many times.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember this trouble with being honest. Like, I wonder, how did we come up with it? Or like,
I feel like maybe it was your suggestion as well. I think you said honesty. And then it became the trouble with honesty. I wound up naming it the trouble with honesty because we got so deep into it. I mean, I guess we're going to have to go back and listen to the very first words we say. And maybe
I was going to say that too. Like, sometimes the episode becomes something else than what we say we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, it almost becomes a whole different, not a title, but something else that's directly connected to it. That's the main influence.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are some topics that maybe we wanted to do, but they were just almost too heavy. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. There's been topics I've brought to you, a lot of them, and you're like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. Which is fine. It's fine, but it's like, ooh, like.
It's not that. Sometimes it's maybe it's an uncomfortableness where we're going there, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the podcast experience.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
So maybe that could be one of the new goals for the upcoming season is maybe some uncomfortability or something.
Yeah, you got to step out of your comfort zone sometimes. And I have, like, I've been accused, maybe jokingly, but I've been accused of having a persona for the podcast.
Like
things I'll talk about and won't talk about, and I'm like, not really. There's definitely stuff I would avoid talking about or don't mention.
Oh yeah.
And I want to just go out and say, it's human nature to avoid certain things. At the same time, when I brought that up to you, I think your honest answer was, well, there's just some stuff we don't talk about. Or something like that. And
I think so.
It's like, yeah, well, there's we still gotta sleep at night or something.
I don't know. I guess finding a better balance with that, because I referenced the War Patrol episode, because that was. It's not the pink elephant in the room or the elephant in the room, but it's sort of where I have to talk about it because I'm part of it. And
it's in your face.
I'm connected to it.
Yeah. I think I even shed some tears on that.
Oh, damn.
It was like I got so worked up about it. Because, what tends to happen is I pull up, and I always look around there when we're pulling up to that checkpoint, and I look at it, and it's like my blood boils. I just get upset, like, God damn it. Like, the day I saw them installing, like, the base for that whole big-ass cover, I saw them installing, like, cement pylons. I knew what they were doing. I was like, fuck, they're going to make this even more permanent. And it just got me bad, like, they're not going anywhere. They're digging in like ticks, and when we pull up there, I always get upset, and then right after we go through, I cuss under my breath, like, motherfuckers, and then we drive off, and then I forget about it. It's like you're exposed to it, and then you just put it behind you as you drive away, and it gets smaller and smaller in the window. But then when we talked about it, it's like, all right, now I got to talk about how I actually feel about it and why, and that brought up a lot of feelings that I wasn't dealing with, I guess. And again, like I said, this podcast is like an outlet for me to be able to talk about things on my mind, and talking about things is how you get through stuff like that. Those feelings and emotions that you get. So. Yeah.
So I guess it's sort of a balance of all of that, because it was never. I guess building a persona was never discussed.
No, it wasn't.
Having the podcast, so like, if it feels that way, it's not the case. But
there's nothing planned about what I speak about half the time. Like when we do the articles, I tend to have like an idea, but I never know, from beginning to end of the podcast. There's no script, definitely not at all. What's funny is most people who come on as a guest for the first time, they're like, you got questions you want to get me prepared for? And we're like, no, I don't want to mess it up. Like, I don't want to mess with the magic, It's like, no, let's see what happens.
I was gonna say, the washing dishes.
Yeah.
That one, I mean, I don't think if we got a lot of views, but it felt like whoever was listening to it got a laugh out of it, because there's some funny shit in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, what I enjoy most is that we created it and we can laugh about it. Like, it's funny to me.
Yeah.
And if I'm laughing, then I'm okay with it, because I don't know. It's just, I'd rather have it that way than than needing something more to know that it's okay or it was a good episode. But, so with that one, you know, I was just thinking about. To me, this was almost like the Be Nice one, where like I didn't know where we were gonna go. Yeah. But I knew it was gonna go somewhere because I know your experiences, or you've had different. I think too. I learned a lot. We learned a lot about each other's life. So, you know, just kind of hearing some of your stories about, you know, stories having to do with dishes. You know, I'm cracking up when I'm listening to it, like the next week. So the washing dishes one I had to like listen to a few times because I was cracking up.
And who knew we would be cracking up so much about washing dishes? That was another subject you brought up, and I was like, man, I don't know about that. I guess I judge a topic on whether I think people might even want to hear about it, and then other times I'm like, I don't care if people want to hear about it. I want to talk about it, so let's talk about it. Like, you've called me so many times, like, man, are we gonna record tonight? Like, and I'm like, no, it's not record night. And you're like, I just want to record tonight. Like, let's record something. and I get that feeling sometimes, or I find a subject, and I'm just like, man, this is big.
This is it. This is it. Like, I have an idea. I have something I need to get off my chest.
Yeah.
So different times where like, I want to do a podcast right now, and I don't even know what Benjamin's doing. You know, like, I don't even know if he's awake.
Shit. Or just hit me up, bro. Just hit me up. I basically travel with the equipment now. I don't go from Tucson to Colville's or Colville's to Tucson without it, because I just don't know what's gonna happen.
Damn, that's epic.
Yeah, I travel with it now, and like what's cool is like I've been setting this whole setup so fast. I have preferences between headphones and wires and setups, and you know where I tie the thing onto my shirt. Like, it's become something to me. It's important, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. There's been several weeks where we will record, and I haven't even started working to put it up yet, and I want to record again. Or, you know, some breaking story comes up, and I'm like, oh shit, we should talk about it. And then, and then other times I get your feedback on it, something I want to talk about, and it's like, I guess that doesn't sound as good as it was in my head. So we don't even talk about it. Just like, all right, I never know. You never know what's going to hit or miss with you, and whether or not we'll go forward with it. Like, I'll bring this up, and maybe people can say if they want to hear it or not. Like, I even got somebody in mind to talk about it with, but you mentioned gender roles, and I think the time you mentioned it, I had just gotten into a whole discussion or something, and it got heated at the time. Whatever it was, I told you, I was like, no, I don't want to touch that one with a 10-foot pole just yet. But now, you know, where I'm at now at the end of the year, I'm just like, shit, man, that's definitely going to be one of the first episodes next season, is gender roles, because I want to talk about it now. It's the time. So, you know, I never know coming into this thing.
Yeah. But I think one thing to kind of note and is, like, you know, sometimes not your opinion changes, but you learn new information.
Yeah.
And that influences how you feel about the entire thing. And you might be on the whole different side of the spectrum about how you feel. So
that
that's happened a few times.
the episode with SpongeBob.
Oh yeah,
I was going back and forth. In 2 hours, I changed my mind like 10 times. I was all over the board. I was just like, oh, wait a minute, but yeah, this. No, I'll never do that. Okay, yeah, we need to do that. So yeah, you're right. I think we all do that. At some point, you get new information, and suddenly it changes everything. You're just like, okay, I can concede that, or no, I never do that. Okay, I'll do that. yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you this: I've never denied being a hypocrite because it happens all the time. I'll say it again. It's a human thing to. Maybe it's not even hypocrisy, but you just learn new information.
I totally. I think that's kind of the part of the experience is kind of admitting you're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
It's like, because you can't be right on every freaking situation. It's like you have to make a mistake to learn that was not how you felt about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not. Some of us don't. Or I mean, that's where our pride, where sometimes we don't want to show that we were wrong, or we'll continue to still believe we're right, even though we know we're wrong.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. I mean, I'm right there with talking about myself, if anything, because it's hard to admit you were wrong. But it's kind of something you gotta learn to do.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about the beauty of this podcast. Not only have I learned about you, I've learned about myself. And again, there's been a difference between the beginning of the year and the end. This is the end of the year. This should be, as far as I know, the last episode of the season. Maybe. We might do one like the 31st or something, or the 30th. But yeah, it's like if I hear myself, if I listen to these episodes, sometimes I'm like, oh God, I'm never saying that again. Or like, or I'll be listening to myself talk and I'm yelling at the radio or my headphones or whatever, just saying, God, shut up! Like, you're saying too much. Just shut up and let them talk. Like, I never know. Like, I never know where to draw that line. Like, sometimes I go off and you let me go off, so I'm just going off and there's no stopping him. And then other times I don't want to talk at all because what we're talking about is so good, or what you're talking about. So I'm trying to, be quiet, just quiet as a field mouse to let you say what you came to say. Same with our guests. And again, like from the beginning of this year to now, like I've been working on that, working on shutting the hell up sometimes and letting the discussion develop on its own versus trying to run it or guide it. Just let it happen.
Interesting.
Especially when we got like three voices on the mic. We're all feeding into the same machine, and we all, I want to say something about that. And sometimes it's like double dutch. You got to pick your spot and dive in as quick as you can, and then dump it off, and then get back out.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of mastered that. So you say gender roles. What else is something you want to?
Hardy, we got to get Hardy on. I've been in contact with him for months, and I can't wait to get him on. That's another one of those names from our generation that, actually, he's been there so long it spanned a couple generations. So it's like we got to get him on. We've been shooting emails back and forth and a couple of texts, and I want him to come on at the beginning of the year. So as soon as we can make that happen, I'd like to have him come on and discuss his life, catch us up on what he's up to.
Oh yeah. And I'll just share about his. The Dano episode, or even the Wesh episode too, where you kind of hear, them as a youngin.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Because we don't know a lot of that. I already forgotten if they told us.
Yeah.
So I like that. Seeing the parties too,
Yeah, the crazy thing about Wesh, or even on Danlos, was with Wesh, I met his son before I even went to school. So, and I lived across the street from him. So, to me, he was like this big, tall father figure. And when you look back at the photos he sent, and it's like him with his bright mustache, and he's just a sprightly young man. He was probably in his 20s or 30s when I met him. He was my age. But in my mind, as a little kid, he's like this adult. He's running around as an adult. And like for Danlo, he was teaching kids, and he was a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, I think he said.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing. I didn't even realize Danlo's time as a teacher was a big chunk of it was before I was even born. So, and I didn't know that. I was like, wow, there's discoveries going on here. And, we're always discussing adulthood. When do you become an adult? And there's a huge difference between perception and reality. I still don't totally feel like an adult, or I always say, men don't grow up. That shit gets thrown around, and it's like, all right, some kids get, things thrown in their lap, and they deal with it, and they become an adult right then and there, and then other people, they go throughout their life, they have the body of an adult, they're growing older, and they carry themselves and act out in society like a child would. So, So, again, when we go into our classrooms as students, and we're looking up at our teacher, and they're supposed to be this leader, this role model, this teacher, they probably don't see themselves as that. Maybe they see themselves as, I'm still a kid, but I'm teaching all these children. It's interesting to think about, and I love that about having them on is we can all experience that. We can all listen to them say that, and we go, wow, I didn't realize you were that young when we met.
Dang. Now, one thing that I learned, or not maybe what I learned, what I think was a topic that I was like, maybe we should further discuss, and then going off of what Donald talked about was the reunions. Why maybe the stereotypes of what a reunion is, or kind of maybe that instinct of not wanting to do it. Why is that the feeling? and kind of deep diving into it. Maybe I guess, the possibilities versus this negative experience, maybe, where you're like, nah, I don't want to do it. Understanding why more.
Yeah.
So that was a topic that I was kind of boiling in my head after listening to it. But then I was kind of reading about, and it was actually a pretty interesting. I didn't get to read it all, but it was almost like a reunion, almost kind of being the next best thing to time travel, because you're kind of going back to this point in your life where you're still trying to figure out who you are, and I think that's the issue. Not the issue, but it's just kind of, showing up and who you are, like what you become, like almost maybe not being what you thought, or maybe not feeling you have enough success or something. I don't know. There's a lot to it, and and I don't know if it's just maybe because does any of it have to do with being from the res, or is that just the universal thing? Because I see sometimes people like crying. Like, I think about my graduating experience versus somebody where they're like, this was not to say I didn't have no good moments in school, but like, if anything, I might have been. I didn't feel like I was holding back tears. I was not tears of joy, like, to get out of there, but
yeah, totally.
So I think download kind of sparked all these weird feelings about education, and so that was, I think, more deep diving into how I feel about education.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take it there, but that's what. That's where I was at after the download episode, listening to it. I'm like, man, why am I so against this idea?
He definitely made me wonder why we don't gather. I think it was kind of like a prison experience. People go in and they come out, and then all they have is their memories when they go in. And it's like, I can't wait to see so and so, and I can't wait to hang out with this guy or that girl. I'm gonna go back and get back at these guys, and they come out, and it's like, all right, life kept going on, and I've been on pause this whole time. Or something like that, or I've become somebody else, and they've all become somebody else. Like, that's kind of the impression I get on the reunions.
Yeah.
I loved all the pictures he had of, like, the class of, was it like 85 or the class of 80? The ones that gather a lot?
I think it was 80.
Yeah. I was looking at those photos and I was laughing, like, they changed, but they didn't change, It was like, they got a little more worn around the edges, but they still had the same smile or something like that. Like, it was interesting to see them chronicled out over the years. I think there was a lot more photos too in that folder he brought when we recorded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that. We were time traveling along with him, on the episode. And I think so far, again, on his episode, that was one of the most worked over episodes I've ever done. I think it took 5 hours to produce. I was just sitting there going over the photos, and I was like, there's so many photos, there's so many captions, so many, cut-ins that I added where they zoomed in on the face or something. Like, man, there was a lot. But it was worth it. Like, I think when I went back and I was watching parts of it, it was good. And again, I didn't do all that in the beginning. And maybe it will be, from now on. And like, what's funny is halfway through this season, I started putting the title on the thumbnail, the first image you see of the video. And we didn't do that before either, but I started halfway through this year. So it's exciting. I look at it completely different than I did in the beginning. When I start choosing the first image or how I line them up or what I write down, and how I talk and how it sounds and how I record it, it's all changed. And I look forward to changing it more, this coming season. Season 3, people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Another thing cool, because we had a lot of guests.
Yeah.
This season, but I think they're all cool. They're all equally cool.
Yeah.
But with Shay, he actually kind of brought in his ideas on one of the topics we had discussed. I think it was maybe about 4 weeks before. We were talking about concerts and stuff. And, he kind of wanted to extend that discussion, and that was awesome. I really appreciate that because, like I said, sometimes we don't have something to talk about, or we don't know what to talk about because, sometimes we do tell the same story over and over, but if someone listened to what we were saying and, wanted to share their experiences, but also maybe ask some questions about stuff that we weren't thinking about, and so that was a fun one, but it was also sort of one that was like, oh man, I appreciate you listening, and then I think he exposed us to a lot more of our hopefully a lot of the audience that kept listening, because really we got a lot more followers when we interviewed him.
Yeah. No, we did. Yeah. We gained more subscribers, more traffic. It's good. This is all good stuff. And then I
want to get them back on. I know they recently opened up a little shop where they're from. So the Bear Beans Coffee.
Yeah, Hugh was really adamant about talking about something new.
Yeah. That was, to me, that was, again, like when this podcast where we didn't know it was going to go like this.
Yeah.
Episodes with Juan.
Yeah.
And then even with the Bear Beans, after the Bear Beans episode, or even to know that we were in contact with them and they wanted to be on the podcast, it was like, they're a legit business,
Yeah.
They're making moves, literally and figuratively, but yes, it was like, they want to do this, and then go through the process of sitting and listening to us and answering our questions and just playing ball, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff that I still think about with what we learned from them, and where the discussion was going when we got towards the end.
Yeah.
That's another funny thing about our podcast too, is that it was like our first hour we're serious on the topic, and the later hour we kind of get loose and start just going everywhere. So like towards the end of the conversations, we're a little bit more silly, and with them, like we were all having a good time. So
yeah, that was a good one.
That was cool.
I was impressed with how, like, I knew they were their own startup. I knew they were like entrepreneurs, and even when they were the first guests that said, "Hey, we have to talk on the phone before we even agree to do this," we had never been approached that way. I was like, okay, this should be interesting. I don't even know if we're gonna get a passing grade here, if we're even gonna do it now. But we called, and it was natural and fun. And so they agreed, and I was really impressed with how serious they took their business. You know, they're like, this is our brand, this is our names, I think they sold everything they had to start it, and it was like, we better do well, we better be careful, we better be insured, we better follow the word for word on small businesses, and I was impressed with that, and it kind of made me go, we're not gonna get the grade, we're not gonna do it now because we don't have that as the podcast, we don't have we're not an LLC, and it made me go, wow, what should we be doing? They gave me ideas of what we should be doing or what we could do in the future. So we're learning from our guests too.
A lot of inspiration in the air with them.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get them back for next season, because they were again, like after we had them and aired it, it was like, wow, this is a milestone for us.
Yeah.
And that might be our first guest where we have more than 3 people.
It was.
It was,
yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. And yeah, that was another one where I was like, man, we got 4 people voicing opinions at the same time. And I was like, I wasn't sure. I was a little worried when we first started and we're recording and we're all throwing in stuff, like just to warm up before we even hit the recording button. And it was like, I had like a little panic moment in the beginning. I was like, holy crap, how are we going to capture all this?
Wait, what's funny though is like, before the red button is pushed, we kind of sometimes do talk a little, and
yeah,
we get a little like, oh damn, we better press record. This sounds good, but
this is good.
I remember that initial call where we spoke with them and kind of talked about the podcast and what we were talking about. But even that conversation was like, damn, we should be recording this, because again, like everything was gelling.
Yeah.
For that combination of people. So yeah.
I think I could even say that probably was one of the first times it felt like a collaboration. Like we could be helping their business and they're helping ours. Like it was, I don't even know if you can call this a business, but I really enjoy it, and I've returned to it regularly like I'm working. I don't see it like I'm working, but I do have the ethic. Like, oh, we gotta do it. Gotta knock out that recording. And yeah, I think I had hopes. Like when we were talking with CJ, Cassandra Jose, she was talking about starting businesses and all that, like making money on the res and kicking stuff off, and I was inspired, like, man, like we should have some more business ventures out there. And I had the hopes and ideas and thoughts and like the potential for collaboration in my mind, like, wow, in the future we'll collaborate, and with the Bare Beans people, the Bare Beans Coffee people, we were like, this is a collaboration, and I wanted to be mindful of that and help as much as I can, hope for the best, that it works out for both of us, and it did, and it was the first time we had that, and it was exciting. So again, I was learning from our guests.
Oh yeah, I think that's sort of I don't know if that's what we think about when we're bringing them on. Like, oh, they're going to teach us something, or we're just kind of excited to have them share their story.
Yeah.
It's like you find out all this info, and it's like, damn, man. Like,
yeah.
These guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I was going to say these guys pretty much, started this business, and it's something that they're going to, kind of pass on to their family. Almost got me thinking, man, this might be the podcast where
we're on the ground floor.
We're passing it on to, maybe someone else to run after, we've done it for so long, or I don't know, it's just cool to know that was sort of a little bit more to the backstory.
Yeah.
And like that inspiration.
And on another level, like this pride that wells up in me about the podcast was we were I don't know how much exposure we gave them, but it was like we were introducing a native-owned business.
Oh yeah.
And we're the we're the Natives in America podcast, and it's like that was kind of in line with what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. We talk about all types of things. It's not just all native stuff, but that was a big part too. It was a whole other level. We were introducing or helping collaborate or help their business, native-owned business, and that was a whole other level that we had reached. It was a milestone or an achievement that you might want to say. Mm-hmm. And that was cool. I was like, wow, there was a lot that I got out of that. And then,
I felt good because, it was cool because we had mentioned them in one of the earliest episodes, but it was just kind of, I was talking about, going to their spot, and then.
Oh yes, travel.
And a year had passed, and then you were like, we got in touch with them, and they're interested, and I was like, oh damn. So it was cool because we had stuff to show them where we were talking about them, but then, to kind of say hey, we want to learn more, and it was very organic.
Nice.
Very cool. Another funny one was, and I always laugh because I know you think about it too, but it's the fear one, the fear episode.
The fear, yeah.
Yeah, that one, it seems like we talk about it, but it's only because, it was kind of scary. That was the point of it, but
yeah,
we pretty much admitted we're scared of the dark.
That I think I want to say that was the first episode where I gave real consideration to choosing the first image wisely. Because one of my buddies was hardcore listener all the time, and then when I asked him if he had heard that one, he said, no, I saw the hand on the window and said, nope, I ain't listening to it. And I was like, whoa, come on, the one image, he's like, nope. He said, I saw fear in the hand and said, nope. It's like, whoa, like, come on, brother, like, come on. Like, it matters. And the thing about fear is maybe someone out there listening was like, hey, I feel that way too. That is scary. Somebody looking in my window. Yeah. Or, you know, ghosts. Like, I'm still toying with the idea of doing like urban exploring or randonautica, and part of my fear is what keeps me from moving forward with it. It's I still watch the stuff. I'm interested. I'm very interested. Maybe I'm more interested than I am scared, but I'm scared enough that I'm not doing it yet, you know, or probably might not. I don't know. But I've discussed it with, the people that I discuss things with, and it's like, oh, don't do it. I had some people tell me, don't do it. Don't open yourself up to that stuff. And, the science part in the back of my mind is, or maybe it's the front of my mind because I'm more science-oriented. It's like, yeah, but I'm so curious. It's so interesting. I gotta do it, and then that fear me is kind of childhood me, like I was describing, taking the trash out down the dark side of the teacher complex. I was like, man, like I would be terrified walking down there, and I've carried that fear from childhood to now. There's still a little bit of fear in the dark. And I admitted it on the fucking podcast. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm a little afraid of the dark. And, so it's, again, I'm learning from this thing. And I've said it a few times that this podcast has taken on a life of its own. It's becoming something that has all this potential, and I'm really excited when I think about it. Like, this has the potential to become something big if we just keep going, just keep producing, keep posting videos, keep talking about it and talking to our friends and sharing it, and it has the potential to become really big. And if we don't screw it up, if we screw it up, maybe it'll become absolutely nothing. Who knows? And I think that's part of what's so exciting.
I was looking at, I totally forgot about this one, but, the Bros Before Hoes.
Yeah.
So, I was like, that one was fun. I mean, I remember getting a lot of laughs out of that one.
Oh, yeah,
but
I laughed a lot.
I just don't remember what did we take away from that.
I have to admit, I was sending episodes to somebody new, like somebody who hadn't listened to the podcast yet. It might have been Damo. And I didn't add that one because I was worried about first impressions. And it was because of the title, Bros Before Hoes. And it is not that bad. It's kind of innocuous. It's kind of a little... It's an expression a lot of people use. But I didn't share it because of the title. And I don't know why. Because I think it was a good episode. Like, I was just looking for ones that I remember that were good, and I shared them.
Yeah.
But I paused and wound up not sending Bros Before Hoes.
I think that's the generalizing of what someone's gonna be interested in.
Yeah.
But then again, like, we could have titled it something else, and maybe someone would have listened to it. Bros Before Hoes? Nah.
Yeah.
Or
moving the cheese. Like, not everybody knows what the hell that means. So just you come across an episode and it says moving the cheese, they're like, pass. I don't know what the hell that is.
But, to moving the cheese, I remember really being like, not obsessed with that episode, but like just it really got me thinking. But then what I was saying on the episode, I stood strongly for. So it was like me thinking about am I moving the cheese?
Yeah.
Am I doing what Benjamin's talking about, or do I need to move it again, or
Is it time? It's a process. It's an ongoing process, and I think just the fact that it got you questioning it, there was a success. It got you to question: is it time to move the cheese?
Mm-hmm.
And shit, I think I'm coming to another point of that right now. Is it time to move the cheese or not, or trying to find out which move does move the cheese the way I want it to?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm actually kind of in a limbo point right now because I can't make up my mind just yet. Like, what's the right move to make right now that still keeps me in forward motion?
Mm.
So that's kind of what I'm hunting for right now. Is what's my big cheese moving moment or decision? What about the cussing episode? Because that's something I wouldn't recommend to my mom because she absolutely hates cussing. Every now and then, like the other night, she said, I think she said shit about something. And me and my sister, like I just turned at my sister and she was looking at me and I was like, oh, she said shit. And because she doesn't cuss, you know, it's out of her character. So like, I wouldn't recommend that episode to her, but I do recommend it regularly. Like, check out the cussing episode. And I don't even remember all the things we said on there. I gotta go back and check out the cussing episode.
Yeah, that was, it's a good episode. To me that's one of the earlier ones where it seemed like it was a short one. Like, it seemed like we got longer.
Yeah.
We started doing longer ones as we are producing longer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I felt like that one, it was we could still expand on it. But,
I'm sure. Words of curse, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good, I know Meg was the one that was sending, comical bits from other comedians talking about the similar things that we were talking about.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what the comedian she said, but, yeah, I think that was another one where we bring it up again.
Yeah.
In a lot of the other episodes, but yeah, I think we do a part 2 to that the next season for sure. Cussing.
That's well, it's funny. I feel like at the end of the episode, I was like, "Hey, fuck everybody," or something like that. We were cussing so much. I think I even opened with cussing, and I was like, "All right, this is the cussing episode." And then we just started going off. And a little tidbit here: the other night, it might have been Christmas night. I called one of my buddies, well, you know, and I was in a really good mood, or this worked up, excited mood. And usually when I call him, he has me on speakerphone automatically, and he doesn't go walk in the other room. He usually has me on the phone in front of his buddies, and he usually hangs out with a bunch of assholes, people I know, and they're all assholes. So when I called him, I was like, "Hey man, tell everybody Merry Christmas, fuck you, and Happy New Year." You know, I was worked up, and I could tell the whole room just shut down. He's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, nah, dude, do it. Put me on speakerphone if you want. I'll say it. Like, I want you to tell them, Merry Christmas. Fuck you. Happy New Year. And turns out he wasn't with the normal people he chose with. So it was like I deadened the room. The room just went quiet. And they're like, who's he talking to? Like, what? I was like, oh, my bad, brother. Like, who's there? Like, who's with you? And apparently I was saying fuck you to people he doesn't normally hang out with, and his mom and everybody else. Like, I think me and his mom would be okay saying that, but like, it killed the room atmosphere, and I was like, sorry, buddy, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm just in a good mood, and I'm bringing this vibe to you, but you gotta read the room. Whoops.
It reminds me of that episode of Roseanne, where I think if their dad dies, and Jackie has to call one of their relatives, and the relative who she calls is like deaf, and she can't really hear, and she's all sad, calling, saying that to let her know that their dad died, and she can't hear, and then she's like trying to say like, Dad died, he's dead, and finally she just like says like, nah, he's okay, and then she just hangs up. It's just kind of like, you don't know what's happening on the other end of the phone, so you might be inappropriate or
totally. Read the room, bro. Read the room. I blew that call. Yeah. I told him when we were heating up. I was like, dude, after we get off this phone, I want you to turn to everybody and apologize for me as much as you can. Tell them I'm sorry. Like I didn't see that one coming. But yeah, there's a time and a place, and we had that on the cussing episode.
Yeah, you kind of boundaries, bro.
Yeah. yeah, for sure.
I forgot what I was going to say about that. I had something too, but
was it about a phone call and cussing? Or?
It was about the cussing, but just kind of. I think it's more. And we mentioned it a lot where we give kids shit.
Yeah.
For doing stuff, but yet we're kind of the examples. And some of it is something they just have to figure out on their own. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, even with the podcast, I think sometimes you gotta use the cuss word. Sometimes it just feels more natural to use a cuss word.
Yeah.
But I think growing up, it's like it's something you're not born with knowing how to handle. So I think that's why we don't want them saying bad words. We don't want them talking like that because. Again, then again, it's just like who's I guess maybe who's judging.
Yeah.
And
do you care about that person enough to let them judge you? Do I respect this person's opinion? Probably not. I don't know.
But then I think it's the sending your kid off to be around another adult, and it's like, do they pass the test, or are they not appropriate? You know what I mean? It's sort of this.
Do I want this person around my kid?
I think it's more the other way. It's like, will my kid interact socially appropriate, or you know what I mean? I think it's a little bit of that too, where you're like, how you use your language reflects.
I bring that up about when my kid finally goes to school. am I going to be having to be called in to the principal's office to discuss his colorful language.
Yeah,
what's funny too is a couple times he, it's new part of his language, and most kids aren't allowed to say these words or whatever, and some kids, they're naturals, they use the language exactly the way it should be, and I think I even said when my son cussed out loud, he did it right, and I wanted to laugh, I wanted to laugh more than scold him, like, oh, he said it. He said it, and he said it right. Yeah, it's a toss-up. I don't know. Read the room.
Yeah. But like what we're saying, in this digital age where you kind of, sometimes you can't read the room.
Yeah.
So, but that happens too. You'll know you're on speakerphone.
Yeah.
And
until you hear sorry, go ahead.
Now you hear all this shit, but that kind of is a good segue into reminding me of I think that was one of the first episodes of this season was the Young Love. The Young Love episode, and talking about our first memories or experiences with love, and one of the stories I told was about how the girl called me on three-way, but I didn't know one was on the other phone. And that was kind of like a little, I don't want to say conniving, but that was a little way to get us all on the same page and to spark a relationship, but it was kind of not knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
So, well played on that. Reflecting on that, but yeah, I'm looking at that episode right now, the picture. I'm looking at all the pictures and just kind of, we've had a lot of good, another one was interesting was the growing old.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when we're talking about adulthood. Growing old.
Yeah.
I don't even really remember what we discussed in there. I think I'm sure the whole difference about being an adult or not came up. I think we even talked about, being injured a lot easier.
No, one of the things that was grinding your gears was the retirement homes, and kind of not wanting to go that route, but yet that's some route for some people.
Yeah.
And that's something, that's what other people strive for.
Yeah.
Or work towards. I think it got me thinking, like, damn, what am I working towards, or what is something I want to be there when I'm ready to say that this chapter is over in my life.
I think I brought up my boss's house.
I don't know, you didn't really tell me who's, maybe you did, I forgot, but I just remember.
Yeah, I think I brought up that I went to his house, and he's probably like late 40s, early 50s, but he was already like bought into a retirement community.
Yeah.
He already had like the big house, and he had a golf cart, and everybody had a golf cart, and there was like a golf course built into their community, and it was a gated community, and I think they even had like an age limit of the residents who can buy, and like he already had all the things that I think, like I've been to hardcore, I think I brought that up too, was Saddlebrook. I went and worked up there, and everybody was, a certain age. You couldn't live there if you weren't. And everybody's zooming around, drunk, not drunk, just going and visiting each other's on their golf carts. And the only time they used their car was when they were, leaving town. And it was like I could see that. Like I worked there. I was a landscaper, and I went house to house. They had several clients. When we went that way, we hit every house that was there that were our clients. And that was, so to see this younger guy who I didn't really consider retirement age, and he already had all those things that all those other people had. I was like, wow, he's either doing fantastic, or he's prematurely aging himself here. I don't know. So yeah, it was, and that image you have, the image that you gave, those like rusting chairs in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice one. It worked with growing old.
Oh, yeah, that's a chair at my grandma's house. It's actually, the black and white makes it look even more older than, I mean, those chairs are old, but the black and white filter makes it look even more. There's a story behind it. But yeah, that one got me kind of thinking, more about maybe how much I'm not thinking about being at that point in my life where, I can't play with the kids anymore, or not able to play ball like how I'm playing now. Not to say I'm tearing shit up, but damn, I can still shoot. I can still make a free throw.
What's funny about that is, I'm like on the basketball court. Usually, I've destroyed my ankles. I think I did it in football back in high school, and then made it worse playing basketball in like PE. And I think I even did it once where me and you were playing ball, and I like went up to throw the basket out like a layup and came down on my ankle. So like I've really chilled out on my basketball playing, and I think part of growing old is going, nah, I'm not doing that shit. I don't want to break my ankle or something. Like, no, you have fun, kids. I'm not gonna do it. And on that line too, we went to skate country for my niece's birthday recently. It was like a week ago, I think, and maybe 2 weeks now. And I was like, I remember how to skate. I'll be fine. And I went out there, and I was like fucking brand new baby deer, just throwing my feet and falling down and rolling in circles, and like they had invented this like walker with wheels.
Oh yeah, I see them.
So I wound up having to use that in order to like pick up speed and like be able to skate again. And then I was telling my family, like I could tell they were burning out, and I was like, all right guys, before we go, I want to be able to throw this thing aside and skate. And I did. I put it down, but I wound up hugging the wall all the way around the room. I was like, all right, fuck that. I'm done. By the end of the evening, I didn't have any more strength to keep my feet together, and like they just kept spreading out, and I was like, oh God. And I hurt for like 4 days after that. And even now, like up till like maybe a day ago or something, I was having like vibrations in my ear that started that night. And I think what it was our ears are involved in like balance, and I think I sprained the muscles in my ear.
God damn.
From like falling so much or so hard that I was hearing a rumbling in my fucking ear like at night. And that was freaky, I was like, oh crap, I'm old. Like if anything was to make that absolutely clear, was getting a fucking rumbling in my ear and walking like an old man for 3 days was that. Like, wow, growing old. Yeah. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
simple things just injure the fuck out of me now.
Well, I think during, what was it, when we're getting ready for Limoshan and just a couple deaths in the community, you know, we're cleaning, we're doing a lot of yard work at the cemetery, and there was like a weekend where I think we did yard work 2 weekends in a row, and like so we're like waking up one day just like sore, like man, like I couldn't even lay comfortable because my back was so just fragile, and I didn't understand why. I'm like, why am I feeling this pain? And then I'm thinking, it's my young mind thinking that I can go 3 days straight, you know, doing some straight up yard work and not complain. Yeah. But like right now, my body's feeling it, and I'm so closed off to how old I'm getting. I'm like, why am I feeling this pain? Like, why is this happening? And I'm like, man, you've been trying to keep up with the youngins. Yeah. You can't run with the young wolf pack anymore. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta chill.
I'm just a lone wolf out in the outskirts, just shunned by the young ones.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want to give up the torch, but you know you can barely hold it up. Yeah. So I mean, that's always sort of a wake up call when your body is telling you, like, you know, you're not that young whippersnapper anymore, man. Well, what's
funny is, like, midday, I was skating, and I was telling my sister, I was like, you know, this is fun as hell, I want to come back. And then having that mystery rumble in my ear and, like spasming in my back and all that for days after, I'm like, maybe I should hang the skates up, you know. I want to hang my skates up, my roller skates. It's time to throw them up on the power line, you know, like, fuck, I'm done.
Well, what is your goal? I mean, I guess, like, how far did you take this skill? Like,
I would probably...
Maybe if you had, like, a thing to do.
I was considering buying, like, some skates. And, like, just, you know, practicing at a basketball court. Like, all right, I'll get this, and then go back to the rink and, you know, just tear it up. But it was like, wow, like, now that I think about it, I think it's been, fuck, bro, like, last time I owned a pair of rollerblades, I was still living behind the old high school at that teacher's complex. So I was like 11, I guess. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like, God, what was I doing out there? What was I thinking? Old guy, man. I'm an old guy. I was fooling myself into thinking I'm still a spring chicken.
Well, I was thinking more like, I mean, maybe there's a love interest and she knows how to skate, so you gotta kind of build your skate level enough to...
God help me.
To try to get there. I mean, that was a part of the storyline, I would say, get back up on there. Like, get back up, but if you had no goals of doing that, then, maybe this isn't your calling. But
there were some beautiful ladies out there in roller skates, and you know, you see something like that pull in front of you, and you're like, I gotta catch up. Like, I'm gonna get up there, and then you take a tumble with your fucking roller walker.
Yeah,
and then it's like, okay. Alright, and then you just watch her, go around way ahead, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I still might, man. I had a good time. I just think at some point, all the muscles in my body were tired. Like, when I first started, my shin muscles were on fire. Like, they were burning like crazy. And I felt like it was when I tried drumming, or when I used to run on, like, hard pavement, and I got, like, shin splints. That's kind of what it felt like. Like, damn, the fronts of my legs were in pain.
Damn.
But, like, what's funny is, like, not too long ago, like, I've gained a lot of weight since then, but, like, not too long ago when I was still working, I was riding my bike, like, every day to work. So it was, like, 3 miles there, 3 miles back. So 6 miles, I was doing about 30 miles a week on a bike. And I lost a lot of weight, and it was like, it was hard at the beginning, but, I had to do it out of necessity, so it was like I had to do it, and I didn't have a car, I was riding the bus, and then, like, I didn't want to ride the bus out of fear of, like, COVID, so I was like, alright, I need a bike. And I rode that sucker, and damn, the first week was tough. Like, I'd show up to work just covered in sweat. And, like, maybe, at least by the first month, I was killing it. Like, I was pushing harder and going faster, and, I'd see a hill coming, and instead of like, oh, God, this is going to hurt, I'd just start gunning it towards that hill. Like, I'm going to get over that motherfucker. And I think one of the hills, like, when I first realized I'm back in shape is when I didn't stop pedaling at all over this big, long hill. Like, sometimes I'd just burn out. I think, like, the first week, I even had to stop when I was going up a hill. I had to stop and walk my bike, like, that first week. And that was embarrassing for me, but I was like, I got to.
Yeah.
And then, after months of doing 30 miles a week, I would just shoot up that hill. I'd be pushing it. I'd stand up and be pushing it and going all the way up the hill. I'd get home faster, get to work faster. I could leave later. It was, I could do that. I don't know if I could get that good at skating out of necessity, but, that wasn't too long ago. I think I've gained a lot of weight since I stopped that. But, do I have a reason to go rollerblading like that? Like, out of necessity? No. But
but sometimes people want to, do something they never done before, or maybe surpass a certain level of knowing something.
Well, I told myself before we left that rink, I was like, I'm gonna skate before we leave. And I was with the walker, but every time I got rid of the walker, it felt like I had already trained myself to be leaning over. And when you don't have a walker to lean on, that's the wrong position to be in. So, I don't know. Is it worth going back and getting better? I think it might be. But maybe buying my own skates is a little too far at this point. I do know, like, at the end of it, like, all my muscles were used up, and I started losing my ability to keep my feet together and, like, have total control. And, like, the burning had stopped halfway through, so I had, warmed the muscles up. It was funny, when I talked about it with my sister afterwards, I was like, we both looked at each other like, maybe we'll stretch next time. We'll stretch before we even get on these things. And that was probably would have been a better way to go.
You're working hard when you're like you start working muscles you forgot.
Yeah.
You didn't even know there were muscles there, and you're working them. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta do those other activities to realize that, or to touch into that. So,
yeah.
Man, I wouldn't say to give up on skating just yet, man.
Yeah, I might not buy the skates though. I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna hang up my skates, but I might not have brand new skates just yet.
So you rent the skates?
Yeah, I was renting it. We all rented our skates.
Okay. Man, it's been a while. I remember they used to do like a New Year's. Hey, speaking of New Year's, they used to have this New Year's thing where like the kids would like stay there at I think it was skate country. At midnight they would do like a drop of balloons and.
Oh, cool!
It was like a New Year's thing, but it was for the kids. So, but I mean, I remember going to that. And, I mean, I used to skate a lot. I don't remember being that great at it, but yeah, I don't. Not to say that. I don't know where I'll be at now. I would like to say I'll at least be able to go around one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how delusional I am too.
I was very delusional.
No, this is. You ever like see these? A lot of times they're like I think of them as like in carnival games where you're like they seem rigged, like too good to be true.
Yeah.
And you think you can do it, but you really can't.
I should have known better, man.
Yeah. Like,
this shit is rigged.
Oh, I just remember in Vegas, there's this pool bar. You just gotta hold. I think it's like $10 to play, but you just gotta hold on that bar for a minute and maybe about 2 minutes, maybe. And if you win, you get like $100. Like
cool.
200. But like in my head, I think I can do it. Like, boom, it's easy. You just hold on to the bar.
Was that like hanging from a bar?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you go up and try it?
Nah, because I know I can't do it. It's like, but in my head, I think I can. And then I see people try it, and they're struggling, and I'm like, damn. Yeah, I think it's the same thing with the skates. Like, maybe I'm really horrible, but in my head, I'm thinking, hey, it might be not so bad.
Shit. Well, I'll tell you this. I think I brought this up before, but it happened again at Skate Country. My sister was filming me, and I had this orange shirt on, but like I look like a big ass pumpkin, like in the video. It was like I'll look at my chest, like look down, and I'm like, I look all right, I look good. You know, I look in the mirror, and I'm like, yeah, I'm big, but I look good. And then you can see a video of yourself or a photo. It's like, who's this fat guy? Like, where am I? I must be behind the fat guy. Yeah, she was filming. I was like, oh, God, destroy that. I don't ever want to see it again.
Like, why is that fat guy wearing this shirt?
Oh, God. Call Cinderella. I think her ride's here. This big-ass pumpkin chariot. Yeah, it was crazy. I don't like photos now. They're not my friends. But yeah, I think I was fooling myself, going, oh yeah, I'm gonna skate. It's just gonna be nice. It's gonna come back like riding a bike, you know. Like I was really good at skating for a while. Like I own rollerblades, and I was fast. Like I'd be leaning into it and like pushing off the ground, like going as fast as I could, like turning corners, like doing little tricks here and there. I don't know how or why I thought, 35, I'm going out there and it's going to be the same thing. No.
Mm-hmm.
All that shit went out the window. I no longer had any muscle memory left. It was not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
But I went, I went for my niece and my nephew, and we had a good time. I still had a good time. My sister enjoyed watching me fall on the ground in front of a big group of people. It was like I would be like, screaming as I'm going down, and like all these kids were laughing, but they come and, hey, you all right? Or they'd be like, that's a break on the front of your foot. I'm like, just keep skating, get out of here. But yeah, growing old. I might have to go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah. That one was pretty. I think you might have suggested that one. I think you're the one that brought that idea up. So.
Yeah, I think it was my boss and his whole living situation. I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's 50-50.
What?
Like, half of the time I'm suggesting a topic, other half you're bringing in topics, right?
Sure, I'll take it. I do definitely try to give you credit when you bring the stuff, like an article or the subject. There's plenty of times where I brought one and we didn't go with it. We went with something else. Or like, I think it's a good idea, and then I say it out loud, and it's like, all right, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I couldn't tell you what percentage it is, but I do know that you bring a lot, and sometimes I think it's a bad idea, and we go with it anyway, and it winds up being a good episode, or a great episode.
Gold.
Yeah, gold. So,
Golden boy.
Golden boy, Rebel Elami. Yeah, I never know. Like I said, I never know that this podcast does bring stuff to light and brings back memories and it helps me to laugh at myself and get to laugh with you and our guests, and it's been really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I say one for the third season. We for sure gotta have the alien episode. Like,
okay,
so it's like we juggle. We talk about talking about it. Like,
yeah,
we haven't officially said this is the alien episode. Let's talk about it. It's always kind of like, you believe in them, or it's right at the end we're wrapping it up, like, hey, aliens, you forgot about aliens, It's weird. It's weird how we don't, like, we want to talk about it, but it's almost, and I feel like I could talk about it, but why haven't we?
Yes, we shall talk about it. Season 3 is a week away. I don't know if this next episode we bring up is going to be in season 3 or if it'll be the end of this season. I don't know. But I definitely do know that we should talk about it. And it should definitely be on the list for our third season.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Start writing some of these down.
You're our write it down guy, brother. Let's see here. Aliens, we gotta have Hardy. Alright, well, let's start. Yes. I keep thinking we should have a calendar up or something. Just write in some guests, maybe pencil them in, and if they don't show up or something comes up, we should. I like being ahead at least one episode. We had that going for a little bit, and I like that. It feels safe.
Yeah. Besides Hardy, who else?
I would like.
Who else is up to deck? Like
Amy, if you're out there listening, I want you to come back on. I've already been telling Juan I want him back on. He says anytime. So they should help us kick off the new year and our new season.
Right on, right on.
Yeah. Well, that's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day. Like I know I tried guess. I usually if I know them, try to encourage them to come on, but maybe someone I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think people we don't know about the podcast.
Yeah.
So that might be
okay.
just another way of expanding who's listening.
Yeah.
By reaching somebody that I don't even know, but they have an interesting story.
Yeah.
Or even it's what was pretty cool too with with Denmark, because he was talking about some of the buildings themselves, buildings we didn't know about, but it kind of almost made it seem like 3D in the sense of the nation and some of the buildings. So it was he was kind of helping build this structure of the community. So almost maybe more other positions or other jobs besides the teacher that are in that complex of so anybody that heard that episode and kind of wants to chime in, I think that was
that's right.
That's a pretty.
He mentioned Teresa.
Oh yeah.
I already forgot how to pronounce her name. Achoyawa. She was in. I watched it. I admitted that I haven't seen More Than Fry Bread, so I had to watch it after that. And luckily my sister had a copy, so I watched it. And she was cracking me up, this hardcore T.O. lady. At some point she was slapping a guy with a fry bread, and I fucking loved it. I lost it. I was like, yes. She had she had this mean face almost throughout the whole movie, and it reminded me a couple of my aunts. And I was cracking up pretty hard. So I finally watched it. Teresa, if you wind up listening, I want you to come on. I'll find you too somehow. If I have to, I think I can reach her through my sister. I want Mikey Enos. I want him on. I think his last name's Enos. He was. I'll save what I want to say about him if he comes on. Mikey, if you're listening, I want you to come on the podcast. I think Meg should come back on, and I think Cassandra Jose's got so much going on. She needs to come back on too. Because like I said, I saw the photos of your your laundromat, and I wanna talk about that. CJ.
Oh yeah. And then I think maybe some more music.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that before. You can record music.
Yeah.
So maybe having some live. But yeah, I think getting Isaiah and the rest of the crew back.
So Visual Doom.
Yeah, Visual Doom
as a group. Yeah.
I think we're gonna get them in here somehow.
Yeah, all of them in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of like a magical trick, you know.
Yeah.
Like one comes, the other one leaves. It's very hard to get them in the same room.
Yeah.
But yeah, them.
I think. Well, we already said Bare Beans should be on again.
Oh yeah, Bare Beans.
If anybody out there who's listening has some suggested guests, I like this guy brought up people we don't know. I want Wendy to come on. I asked Wendy to come on. She works with the... I believe she still does it. She works with the jail in cells. And I want to have her on. And I think my buddy Jack should come on. He's a wild man.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I feel like the podcast is ended because we're just discussing our list now.
This guest that I want that has said no, but I still encourage them. So
Guess?
Yeah, I mean, no, not well. They're not. I would like them to be guests, but not everyone wants to be recorded or feels they have something to say. But I think otherwise. So
I had actually walked in on a discussion between my sister and this lady who, I don't know which department she runs, but she runs a department of the Arizona State Museum right there at the U of A.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet I could convince her to come on.
Think so?
Yeah. So, if anybody's interested in that, drop us a line. I'd be curious to hear what kind of artifacts they have from our tribe in there, because they, like our own museum on the res, there's a storage facility in the back, and we only see so much at any time of the year versus what they have in their archives. So I'd be very interested to hear from them. Maybe even somebody who's from the beginning of Kit Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody come down from Kit Peak, or at the very least call.
Oh yeah. Huh. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like,
we'll come around to it.
Yeah.
Are there any other episodes you want to bring up, either from this season or the last one, that you think people should go back and check out? Like, I always like the time traveling one, and maybe the technology. Like, technology is such a broad subject. I feel like we should go back and talk about recent technologies that have come out. I kind of want to talk about Mars too. I've touched on it a lot, but I want to go back and
talk about it. We were. What was it? What episode were we? I think it was the washing dishes one, where our discussion led into Mars.
Wow.
Or one of them was.
How?
I don't remember, but we were talking about Mars and sort of like. Sometimes I'll listen to the episode and then like you'll make a statement and it'll just be like, damn. Because you'll say like, everyone's gonna die. The first people that go to Mars are dead. You're like, I'm like, damn. Like, you make these statements. I'm like, damn, you're probably right. But yeah,
I didn't just say that either. I've given it a lot of thought.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm like, oh man, you kind of bursting my bubbles. But as far as like, damn, I mean, I know our episodes are long, and it's kind of hard to get through an entire episode in one listening. So, like, they're all pretty interesting if you kind of stick with it. I think the guilty pleasure one. I mean, I don't even remember what we talked about, but I think the idea of that concept, like even now, like
I think you and I had different concepts altogether of what that was.
Yeah, and I'm gonna challenge my own idea of what it is, because it's like maybe it's music you like, but other people don't like, so you don't want to say it. But again, it's kind of knowing or already thinking the general reaction, because it is something maybe you wouldn't think I would like this type of music. But then Shay, when he mentioned that too, like he kind of said, like, it's like, and he referenced Slipknot too, where it was like, oh hey, well, really there shouldn't be any guilty pleasure, because anything you like is what you like.
Yeah.
But I still have those artists where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to share that, because I don't know if everyone know it's gonna rock the same way I'm rocking.
Yeah.
But so today, this whole week. Well, I mean, for as long as I can remember, I've been a fan of Adele. And I followed her, and it's crazy because their albums, she pretty much names their albums and name them for a year.
Really?
So just this past album was 30. And because of that, I've kind of felt like I grew up with Adele. But when she first came out, she was this young. Her first album was 19. And she put out 21, then 25, and now she put out 30. But I would consider, I don't want to consider her a guilty pleasure, but without all that discussion, I would put her in that category. But I'm challenging it right now by sharing it, knowing I think some people might laugh and be like, you're like Adele, or what? Or you're saying that out loud. But I've been rocking with Adele since that album came out in 2008, and I've been rocking with her since then. And she just put out, like I said, the 30 albums came out, and I've been jamming that, and I'm not ashamed to say I like Adele, but I think it was having a lot of those conversations about, guilty pleasures and, music you'll admit to liking, but then maybe around certain other people you wouldn't openly admit it, because, I don't know, we're worried about what the other person's thinking, maybe. But that episode, that episode kind of got me thinking about the term more, and just kind of like
guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I mean, I think it's just,
I kind of got exposed to her by chance in like a workout class. And she's got really good, like, hyper workout music. I dug that about her. That was probably the first time I really even considered, like, oh, I want to jam that. And that was just accidentally. by chance. She has good music. I'm not guilty about saying that either. She has good music.
Oh yeah, no, she can sing.
Yeah, music in general. I think that's one thing that Shay had brought forward was that whatever you like is what you like. It's good music. Music's pretty damn universal, really. Like there is stuff that when I hear it, I don't want to hear it, but yeah, you'd be surprised what I just. Yeah. Like early '90s music. Like, some of that stuff has grown like a reputation, but I grew up like, I'm still of one of the last generations where you could like ride in the back window. And I remember riding to Tucson in the back window of our car listening to all this 90s music because it was on the radio. So like, I dig a lot of I don't want to say questionable, but like good music from the 90s, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there nowadays that'll be like, that's terrible music, but it's what I grew up with.
Well, so check this out. So earlier today, I went with a little mini road trip with my mom, and we're listening to Spotify. And Spotify has like playlists, like already preset playlists, and they have different names like 80s rock or they'll be specific to a certain whatever category or topic, and they have those classic road songs, and she wants to listen to Fleetwood Mac, and so that's where I found the playlist, because it was a suggested playlist for, Fleetwood Mac and anybody else, like other artists related to that. So I said, let's listen to this. It's called Classical Road Songs. And we started to listen to it. And the first song was good. I mean, the first song, we were like, all right, I guess this is a road song. It was a Motley Crue song. And I don't really know Motley Crue too well, so but it was a cool jam. I heard it on I think it was on School Rock. But then other songs started coming on, and my mom started to be like, "This ain't a road song," or like, they consider this a road song. So we started to like critique the playlist and be like, well, what constitutes a road song? And then in my head, I'm just thinking, like, any song could be a road song. Yeah. So, like, do they got to be talking about the road? Or is it just good vibes?
I think it's good vibes.
So some of the, like, it was just funny because it was like, like, at times I remember not liking my mom's taste in music. Oh. It was only because I was obsessed with my own taste. Yeah. And not really exploring what she was tapping into. Yeah. Until later on, you actually, like, appreciate it more, or, like, my mom actually likes some cool music, So sometimes, I'm late on giving her props on what she knows about music, or like, later on, we're like, maybe it's the other way, not the other way, but maybe it's where, like, I've developed my own taste on music, and now I can kind of go heads up with her because she has. So it's just kind of funny how we can kind of have these talks about, like, well, why not? And why isn't this a real song? And so yeah, it was a good little discussion piece that as we're listening to, we're kind of like, why they pick this song, or this is a good song, or so. But that was today, so that was kind of like, maybe critiquing other people's playlists. Yeah.
So maybe we should do a top 5 sometime.
Something like that.
Top 5, top 10 best Something like that. Road song or top 10 love songs, top 5. We should do something like that.
Yeah.
In the future.
I like the love song one. I like that one.
What? Love songs?
Best love songs or some. I always like the term. Oh, I don't like the term, but maybe I like the term, but it was like baby making music.
Yeah.
And people associate different artists to that type of feel,
Nice.
So maybe a favorite baby making.
Baby making music. All right.
Playlist.
All right. I'm down. Start thinking about it. I'll definitely.
Yeah.
I got one in mind already.
I put some TLC. Maybe.
Yeah.
There's some Marvin Gaye.
Oh God! All right, hey, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. We'll come back to it. I think we're good here. I think this episode, like we had a good momentum, but I think we've slowed down here. Do you have any last words about this year or maybe the past 2 seasons? Like, I don't even know if this. I need to be looking at a fucking calendar here. Make sure we aren't having another episode in this year.
We could. I think that's one thing to kind of point out is
Oh, this is it. This is the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, but we're so loose.
You're more loose than I am, my man.
I'm loosey-goosey, We've become loose with how we put out
Speak for yourself.
You're hella loose. I'm not bragging about my looseness, but I can get pretty loose.
Yeah, all loose.
But what I'm saying is, like if we wanted to put one out before the end of the year, we could, because that's just how we can operate. But I mean, I think we've gotten better at. I think for a while we had a strict schedule that was keeping us on track, and now, I mean, even though things are popping up, and sometimes we're not always in one place, or something's a busy week and we can't record on a certain day we always record on. So I think we're still able to get it done even if it's not scheduled. So by being loose, I mean it by that, like we're able to get in all the spaces we need to get in.
Yeah. Flexible. Maybe flexible is a better.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, now it's out there that you're loose, and I don't think we're taking that one away.
Well, I'm flexible and loose.
Okay. Oh God. Ladies, he's flexible and loose.
So yeah,
double jointed. Okay.
So that's a good quality for our podcast.
Yeah. No, I definitely flexible as hell. I'm down.
That's all I would say is maybe check out some old episodes, but just if I don't really know the end goal, but like this year upcoming, we're still trying to strike at this what it is to have a podcast. So I think we're open to trying a lot of new stuff. So like you just stay tuned. It might surprise you, or I don't know. Just stay tuned, because we're definitely trying to bring something new to the podcast game. And I think that's another cool thing too. Is like our podcast is unique. to to where we're from and what else is available, but we have enough older episodes to get a feel for where we're at. But yeah, come check us out.
Yeah.
Or
I like it. Well said.
Yeah.
I just want to recap. This guy is now saying he's loose, flexible, and into trying new things. Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. No. I'm very happy with what we've done. I love that we just broke 100 subscribers. If anybody has any feedback, any requests for certain subjects, or you want to be a member or a guest on the podcast, you are more than welcome. Just reach out to us on the on YouTube right now, and I think what I'll work on for next year. Again, I'm all about moving forward, so I'd like to have more guests. I like Sky's idea about having people on that we don't know, so maybe we will know them or know more about them. I want to attempt again at having a episode with video. There's more to come, guys. Stay tuned. I've enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed it so much that I want to do it another year, and I think at this point, I'm hoping me and Sky don't stop. We just keep going and doing this thing, because it's become a part of my life and our lives, and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you, everybody who's stuck with us and everybody who's joined us. It's been a great year. I mean, for podcasting, it's been a great season in podcasting. It's been kind of a crappy year, and I'm glad that you guys were here to witness it and enjoy parts of it with us and learn and maybe even shed a few tears. And thank you to all our guests and everybody who listens. I'm really glad Sky has met the challenge with me, and we've come through the end of this season, still in it, still together, still running this. And here's, cheers to all of you. Here's to another season that's about to begin, the next chapter. All right, another season, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, everyone, for listening. All right. Yeah. So peace out, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Natives in America podcast on the Reservation Radio Network. And as Sky said, peace.